Hey everyone, Arashi here, back at another upload. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the understanding of Anakin Skywalker. Because mainly after one of my last vids, a lot of people were just trying to say that I pretty much didn't understand who his character was, and I can completely understand that because I have a different perspective on him. Now, please forgive me because I am sick again. I don't know how I got sick again, but I'm going to try to push through this video just so I can get it out. I was legitimately sick 2 weeks ago, and then I got better, and then after that, got sick again. I'm on a horrible start. But anyway, that's besides the point. Let's get into the understanding of who Anakin Skywalker is. Anakin Skywalker is a very misunderstood character, and a character who is very, very conflicted. Anakin grew up in completely different circumstances than a lot of other Jedi that were there at the council, that were there already being trained, other Padawans, everything. One of the biggest things, the biggest elephant in the room, is he was already 9 years old when he was brought to be trained by Qui-Gon Jinn. That's already the biggest elephant in the room. Most Jedi did not want to take anybody over the age of 4, essentially. I mean, it was pretty crazy how the Jedi just wanted to train them from such a young age, because that way they didn't have that many attachments and they could just focus solely on the Force. Anakin was completely misunderstood in this standpoint because he did have attachments. He had his mother, and the fact that he grew up as a slave underneath Watto for all those years. I mean, him growing up a slave and then having to be pulled away from his mom, who also he had to leave back on Tatooine. You could see how this could majorly affect somebody who was so young at the time and just didn't understand what was going on. He was constantly worried about his mom because his mom was still a slave. Although Anakin was now free, his mom was still completely a slave. So he had no clue what was going on with her back on Tatooine until he got really older. And since Anakin was accepted into the Jedi Order so old in his life, it actually created such a wave amongst all of his peers and other Jedi. Heck, many even thought that he shouldn't have been accepted whatsoever. But there was no denying that he had a high concentration when it came to the Force. When it came to him learning how to fight, when it came to him learning about the Force in general, it was very, very easy for him. It was almost second nature, and this also led to a bunch of the other Padawans being jealous of him. Now fast forward a couple more years, Anakin's one of his strongest powers that he actually had was able to see the future. It would come to him in dreams and premonitions, but he was able to see fully into the future and be able to predict what was going to happen next. And none of the Jedi were willing to listen to him and willing to understand exactly what Anakin was going through in these moments, only offering him the basic by-the-book answer. As you guys know, just the straight up, oh, you guys are not supposed to have attachments, we're Jedi, oh, you guys aren't supposed to do this, we're Jedi, this, that, and this, and the third. But he was never given true guidance on what to do, which in my eyes was a complete and total failure on the Jedi side of things. If the Jedi weren't so by the books and they weren't so just stuck in their ways, and we actually had somebody like Qui-Gon Jinn still alive, I truly believe that Anakin would have reached his full potential. In fact, I completely understand where Anakin's coming from, because at the end of the day, me and him are the exact same age, essentially. We are basically right now, at that time when he became Darth Vader, are the exact same age. And thankfully for me, if I'm going through something mentally or I'm going through something spiritually, I have people in my life who can help guide me and steer me in the right direction, so I don't end up, crashing out. This is something that Anakin completely and totally needed throughout his entire life. He just needed a little bit of guidance. But instead, he was stiff-armed into the corner and made to pretty much submit to what the Jedi were trying to tell him. And on top of that, you also have people like Mace Windu, who absolutely never trusted Anakin Skywalker with anything. He was constantly doubting him and constantly pretty much having this defense up whenever it came to Anakin Skywalker. And as many of you already know, Mace Windu himself already had a lot of dark inside of him. He had a lot of dark emotions that he had to control. And this is why Mace Windu created the fighting style Vapad, because it controlled his emotions and it fed off the dark side emotions of his opponent. In terms of fighting and learning how to control his emotions, that's something that Mace Windu could have easily taught Anakin Skywalker. And on top of that, as far as trusting in the Force and only in the Force, he could have learned that from Qui-Gon Jinn, who I think would have been his perfect master. This is why when Luke Skywalker, when it came time to him to create his own Jedi Order, he pretty much renounced everything that made the Jedi fall back during the Clone Wars era. Luke made it so that the Jedi could actually have attachments and it could actually feel things, and that to actually trust in the Force always. At least that's what Legends Luke was doing. I have honestly no clue what the sequels and what we got Luke was doing part of that one. But the Luke Skywalker that I honestly like the most comes from Legends, and that's the one that I'm referring to. Basically, the fall of Anakin Skywalker is exactly why Luke turned out the way he was when he was a Grand Master. But overall, Anakin is possibly one of the most misunderstood characters in all of fiction, honestly. His life and everything was a true tragedy. Everything that he went through was just horrible. And on top of that, the very people that he thought he could trust, the people who he thought could become his new family, completely stiff-armed him and left him on the sideline completely alone. All Anakin needed was a little bit of guidance. All Anakin needed was somebody to actually listen to him. And even after it all came true that his mother was dying, they absolutely still didn't listen to him when it came to Padme later on. And after that, the Jedi asked him to spy on Palpatine because they thought he was the Sith Master, which he was the Sith Lord, but at the end of the day, that was still Anakin's best friend and they had him try to betray him. All this led to the downfall of the Jedi, and all this led to Anakin becoming Darth Vader, which is something that Luke Skywalker went ahead and corrected about his Jedi Order when it came later on down the line. At the beginning, Anakin wasn't a bad guy. He was just someone who was completely misunderstood. But anyway, that's all I have for this video. Let me know your guys' thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Do you guys think that Anakin Skywalker is one of the most misunderstood characters in all of Star Wars and all of fiction in general? But anyway, may the Force be with you and have a great rest of your day.